It is now my great pleasure to introduce Aunty Elizabeth Hayden, who will perform our Welcome to Country today. Aunty Liz is a Ballardong woman and traditional owner. She was instrumental in negotiating the land deal for the Noongar Nation and involved in drafting the Noongar Recognition Bill with the Barnett government in 2015. Aunty Liz is a grandmother and great-grandmother and is passionate about mental health. She is a qualified social worker and is currently undertaking a PhD entitled A Noongar Woman's Narrative. Aunty Liz's latest project is a community gathering about the suicide of young people. The gathering aims to bring the community together to start to heal. There has been a fantastic response to this gathering from a group of passionate people who want to effect change in dealing with trauma. Aunty Liz believes it is like small sound that is building into a crescendo. Please welcome Aunty Liz Hayden to the stage.
Good morning, everybody. First off, I must give you my apologies. This past week I've been absolutely run ragged, and here we go with emotion. So somebody want to surround me with support? No, I'm joking. Ian's my great friend. I just told him that I recognise him from the back. I've spent the last week, bit over a week actually, I came to the conclusion that there's been too many deaths by suicide in our community by our young people. Too many. I just wanted to do this before I go into Noongar welcome. I love my language, but there's some things that I need to say in English for you to hear. Over a week and a half, I went to church on a Sunday. 6 weeks before, I told my pastor, I said, I really feel that I need you to pray and anoint me for healing. For two years prior to that, I'd run ragged with the loss of 2 sisters within a space of 10 months, incredible women. And I'd just become depleted in my health. And so I contracted some skin infection that affected me, and I just wanted prayer. So on the Sunday, I had prayer. And so they prayed for me, the elders, including my husband, prayed for me and anointed me. And if you have that kind of belief, which I have very strongly, and so I did that. That was Sunday. On Monday, I put on my walking shoes, these ones, put on my walking shoes, and I walked the community. Cheryl, where are you? Anyway, I walked the community because there's too much death. We're talking about trauma here. You're talking about trauma in the kids. These kids, a lot of them in our community has gone through too much trauma. And so in our area, thank you, Dar, in our area, there's been 4 deaths in less than that many weeks by suicide. I'm asking what's happening to our people. So Monday my walking shoes went on and I went to the families and I said, look, we want to have a meeting, we'd like you to come. But it was very traumatising for them to come to a meeting. But I had to organise a community gathering. And so the Monday the shoes went on, walked, went to as much as I can. I went to an organisation, I said, I need money from you because I'm sick and tired of coming begging you people for money. You hold the coffers for our people. I want money to get a hall, to buy food, and to just get a gathering together of our people. We need to meet. You talk about healing. Let me tell you, the healing is from the community. You can't heal. We talk about trauma with our children, and there are so many things happening out there. And just by the way, I want to tell you something, that when our kids are placed in care, the first thing they're told is, hello, then you give them something. They're told to say thank you. You don't see the thank you from the non-verbal side. But white people wait for the verbal thank you, and you never see the non-verbal thank you. And I told a woman one day who was getting this little Aboriginal kid to say thank you. I said, stop, the child has already said thank you. Have a look at the eyes. Have a look at the eyes. Non-verbal people communicate in a way that... And so our kids are traumatised before them. At the first, as the door opens, they go into white families and they're told, and they learn the protocols of white living. First trauma, the beginnings of trauma, and then that continues. So you people out there who work with people and children coming into care, think about the kids who are walking through that door, the little bubbas who come in, and how you are communicating with them. Say please, and then you hang on to the little gift just a little bit longer to let it go, because you want that child to say thank you. The child's already said thank you, because it's learned a different way of communication. But anyway, I walked the walk and I went into the... I wasn't going to talk about this, but I walked into the community and I said, we need to have a meeting, who will come? And then just one by one, I'll do this, Aunt, and I'll do that, and I'll go to my organisation and I'll ask for this. And from Monday and Tuesday, Wednesday was Anzac Day, couldn't do anything that day. So on the Thursday, the gathering, and I'm calling it the gathering happened, and we brought people together. Oh. We brought people together and got the families and the community. And the one little girl who hung herself on the back line of her mother's home on the clothesline, her mum was there with a photo, carrying it as if the most precious thing in the world was all she had left was a photograph. And she brought the photograph and put it up for display for us to see, because we need to look and see what we have lost. And put the photo up. But that night, in the talk of everybody else, a young woman got up and talked about the loss of her husband by suicide, left with her children to look after. Another young woman talked about her daughter, that she walked out and pulled her off the back porch where she'd put a rope around her neck to hang herself. And another talked about, others talked, but these were the three ones. And the mother of that child talked about her grief. And what happened was that a community started to heal itself. They started to hold each other. They started to talk to each other and bring a sense of the start of a work of healing amongst our people. And so I think it's great you're talking about trauma and young people, and this beautiful, beautiful lady here will give you so much information. But there's a community out there that needs to be healed as well. Don't forget that, because our kids come from that community. I came from a funeral yesterday and I had my phone all set up to go for the alarm this morning. Somebody took the phone out of my room and I couldn't hear the alarm. So I do sincerely apologise for being here late. I'm just worn out practically. And yeah. And so went to this funeral yesterday of young men, and the question must be asked, what is it that's not worth living that they want to take their lives? Kids coming out of care will say this one day, something not worth living, I'm going to take my life. And so I urge you to work in a way with our kids. Listen to what Cheryl has to say, because you're looking at two lots of people here. You're talking about First Nations people, Aboriginal people, and you're talking about non-Aboriginal people and Aboriginal kids going into non-Aboriginal homes is becoming prevalent. Think about how our kids are going to cope in those settings. But at the funeral yesterday, I watched a father. He has children, he has grandchildren and great children, but his grief absolutely depleted him of any capacity to hold his wife, to hold the partner of the girl who lost her partner, just to hold anybody. Everybody had to hold him. And this is where our men are at, incapable of holding us as women, because they are suffering an enormous amount of grief and pain. And so, Ross, thank you for the opportunity to be here. ngan kurt wien, ngan kurt nitja mindij, ngan kaat mindij, ngan jen mindij. Ngalak nitja yagen nunga, nunuk yagen nitja nunga buja, ngan karajan nitja, wanjan nitja nunga buja. Karajan winji nunuk jen kulin, nunuk jen kulin nunga buja. Karajan kaat, kaat kurt da wangin duong karajan winji nunuk kulin. Karajan nitja ngalaka murt kura balap jen kulin, nitja biri kulin, balap jen kulin, biri murit, balapa kurt murit, balapa kaat murit. I'm going to use my sleeve.
You can have mine.
No, no. A long
Here
time,
comes a tissue.
a long time ago,
Thank you.
our people walked on this land. They walked with strong feet. They walked with strong hearts. They walked with strong minds. And they've been flayed again and again and again. We want to see change in our community. We want to see our people walking strong. We want to see our people healed. We don't want to see no more men who just couldn't hold his head up yesterday, couldn't open his eyes to the grief that he was carrying in the loss of our young people. We want to be strengthened. Strength, trauma-informed practice. It might sound like a new framework to work with, and it sounds like it's a good one. And Professor, Mr. Barth, thank you for bringing that to us, but also in terms of acknowledging you in the role of the Northern Territory work that's been done to change the lives of our young men up there. You see, look at every state in this country. There is so much grief and pain that we're losing our people. And you know who's dying is our men. I went to prison once to visit a young man. I was asked to go there when I worked at Greylands. Can you come and see this young man? He wants to commit suicide. And I sat with him. His story is sad. When he was a boy of 10 years old, he watched his mother was pregnant, and he watched his mother. Father came home drunk, and his mother punched her from the kitchen to the lounge, pushed this pregnant woman who was over 8 months pregnant, punched her, hit her, and she fell down the steps. He ran and hid underneath the steps, and he hid under the house. And the ambulance came and took his mother away. And the last memory he has of her is being taken to the hospital by somebody, he can't even remember who took him, and lifting the sheet and seeing his mother, seeing the sheet in blood and his mother under the sheet. And he wanted to kill himself. Who wouldn't want to kill himself to see a sight like that? To remove the trauma that's been created in there. And I said to him, young man, you can't kill yourself. You are the carrier of our seed. We need you to go back and to plant your seed, not all over the place, but we need you to go and plant your seed where it belongs, with your woman. And that's what we need. We need to be engaging our young people. And in your trauma-informed practice, our kids are already in trauma. Be they babies because of the FAS factor, for alcohol fetus, FASD. Anyway, they've already got trauma. And then they come into life and they're placed into care, and there's another added trauma, and then there's another added trauma. And in those homes, our kids are being placed in non-Aboriginal homes who have no idea how to accept them walking through the door. They're going to room. They expect to say thank you, they expect to say please. But they do all that in a non-verbal way. And you need to tell your workers to look at the proper communication factors within our children, how they communicate. Rob Riley once said, and I was reading some of these things, and thank you, Cheryl, for standing beside me now.
I'll stand every
Thank
week
you.
go along.
Thank you. And first off, Rob Riley once quoted, if you're right, you can't be wrong. You know, you can't be wrong if you're right. And there was another one that I wanted to just mention. When here.
Being right is not a strategy.
Yeah, being right is not a strategy, but what he said was being right. When you're right, you can't be wrong. There was another one, but I can't think what it is. But let me tell you that I'm still walking this walk with these same shoes. Somebody want to donate some money to buy a pair of shoes? No, I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking. Like I said, Terry, I see you there and I acknowledge you today. Thank you for the way you too have walked, and both of you men have walked beside our people. Terry was at my sister's funeral and I thank you for that. You were, weren't you? Your brother, yeah. So these Wadjala men have the capacity to walk with us as Aboriginal people. What is your capacity to walk beside us? What is your capacity to learn how we do things? What is your capacity to put aside this framework that's yours? I say for Australia to change, the psyche has to change. The change must happen up here. How you perceive us as Aboriginal people. We're not less than you. We're not less than you. We are your equals. In fact, I could say that we're superior to you because this is our country. We know every facet of this land. And we can walk in two worlds. Can you walk in two worlds? Can you walk in the world you live in? And can you walk in the Aboriginal world? So important for you to have that capacity to work in both worlds. Because you're the experts, as in experts. You're out there creating frameworks and ways to work with children. And there's a high percentage of those kids because we have everything. The other day I looked at this piece of paper and it said they put us in another category. Our children are the highest at-risk kids for drowning now. You know, another high risk factor for our kids. So our kids, you're dealing with high rates of issues here. Just how expert are you at dealing with our kids? How expert are you at putting your arm around them and saying it's okay? How expert are you to understand? Let me say, I just welcomed you to Noongar country when I was talking a language. I said, thank you for walking this land, but remember the feet that walked on this land before you walked here. The feet of our people walked a long time ago. You won't see many signs except rock art, maybe a few carvings on trees. And yet you look at the world that happened since colonisation. There are so many landmarks that have marred our land, so many things that have marred our land. You need to heal. We need to heal our land. We need to heal our people. We need to heal our children. The mind must change and recognise that Aboriginal people and Torres Strait Islander people, we're all equals in this land. And only until that happens that everyone can say that this is Australia. Because at the moment, I'm a Noongar, full and full, because Wadjalas don't have much to offer me. So think about what you're offering the kids that you work with and how strong they're going to come out of care, or how many of them will suicide in the process of being cared for by people who don't really understand them. Thank you.